Patterson. We are at the 13th annual St. Louis Prototype Modelers Meet. I'm doing an outdoor photo shoot. We're going to talk about this table saw. That's absolutely magnificent. This is the best hobby in the world.
What's neat?
What's neat?
What's neat?
What's neat starts now.
Catch the What's Neat podcast every week and full episodes of What's Neat every month at the Model Railroad Hobbyist YouTube page.
What is that thing called?
This is a forage wagon.
Forage wagon. Okay.
So,
A forage wagon. Are you decoupling it right here?
yeah.
Do it during the show when we're shooting the show, but we're shooting
Yeah.
right now.
No,
Richard's running camera. We have
Let
two
me
cameras
just-
rolling. There
Look.
was a train that just went by.
All right, are we ready to go or
We
what?
are so ready to go.
Richard, why don't you go ahead and give us a countdown?
I'm going to use last week's notes. I think they'll suffice.
Sounds good.
Ready?
Absolutely.
3, 2, 1.
The What's Neat This Week in Model Railroading Show is made possible by viewers like you and is proudly supported by Model Railroader Magazine, helping enthusiasts become better modelers for more than 90 years. To learn more, visit trains.com. Additional support is provided by Spring Creek Model Trains, your destination for model trains. Stop in and say, wow. Check out their website at springcreekmodeltrains.com.
Intermountain Railway Company, where the detail makes the difference. Check out their website at intermountain-railway.com. Additional support is provided by Yelsma Graphics, America's leading distributor of quality railroad art and embroidered clothing since 1985. Check out their website at yelsma.com. Further support is provided by the NCE Corporation, the power of DCC. Visit their website at ncedcc.com. And thank you for supporting the What's Neat This Week podcast. This is the What's Neat This Week show in Model Railroading, show number 293 for November 2nd, 2024.
That's really close to 300 shows.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
it
it is.
took 2 takes to get that out. Anyway, the blooper reel saved for another time.
This one's going much better.
Wow, last week was a great show. Last week was such a good
Well,
conversation.
technically it was 2 weeks ago. but
I didn't
yes,
even know what to
I
put in the
agree.
thumbnail. There was so much subject matter we covered on that show.
Those blue box cars
Yes.
blew
Yes.
me away.
That was a great
Thank
presentation.
you,
Yeah.
Mike. Yes.
Thanks.
I'm your host, Ken Patterson, the host of the What's Neat Show at Model Railroad Hobbyist Magazine, that show that we've been doing since 2012. Yes, on how to get your hands dirty and build stuff. Every single project that I have worked on since 2012 and Mike's worked on and other folks and friends have worked on, it's all inclusive in those videos. I just finished the November video, in fact. That's what I was doing all last week. Right before the show, right after we shot last week's show, which was fabulous, I then started editing the November show to get that out. And Joe Fugate had sent me a letter, or no, an email, James, and he said he wants the What's Neat show cut down to 30 minutes because they're just kind of too long, he thinks, sometimes. So I completely deleted everything I had lined up for that show in November and started over Saturday night. And by 6 o'clock in the morning Sunday, I had a pretty good idea where we were going.
All right.
And it turned out to be a fabulous show. We got some great drone footage from our drone pilot, Dan Scheidel,
very
of
nice.
4014 running through the Feather River Canyon.
Oh, nice.
Oh, nice.
And I mean to tell you, when you look at the scenery, and I might be showing a clip now because I know I am, I see it in my head. When you're standing there looking at it from the perspective of the drone, it's like you're looking at your bench work. You're looking at the scenery on the way out. And if there were anything wrong with it, you'd be able to nitpick the guy and tell him, hey, you did that wrong.
Right.
Absolutely.
But it's not. The scenery looks kind of flawless. And there's all your answers from the perspective of how we look at a layout. And that's why I love using Dan's work like this. So that's 4 minutes in the video. There's 20 minutes of the continuation of how I lit that segment, that scene over there, and we lit the building over there and all the other things that came with that. That was 20 minutes. And then the 10-minute all the new products that is coming out for Christmas from Bachman Industries. And it still turned out to be a 50-minute show. Because we talked about this at the opening of it. We talked about this on the show last week too, 2 weeks ago. Remember that?
This is so cool.
The CV Center. This thing is, I am so impressed with this. There hasn't been a new gadget that's come out that I've made a spot for on my workbench since I guess we got the NCE system. But this thing has got a permanent spot now in its own little holder, as it should be, so it can be used at a moment's notice to find out what number engine somebody brings over here, so we don't have to go through the throttle and start figuring it out, or turn on the computer and go to Decoder Pro. You just push 3 buttons on this, and in about 5 seconds, you've got your answer.
Yeah,
Because if you
Yeah.
bring
I love
if you
it.
bring a train over here and have it on number 3, all the trains are going to run at the same time.
Well, all right, that set
That'd be
aside.
fun.
But the fact is, and then we got this when we were at Lombard Hobbies.
Yeah, they were hanging on the wall right when you
Yeah,
walk
those were.
in.
The adjuster, HO scale. What this is, and I don't remember the gentleman that had these. He was so kind. He was so nice. He even gave
Yeah.
this one to me.
Yeah, went to dinner with
Well,
them.
I was
Very
looking
good
at it
folks.
at the time, and not to be, I gotta tell you the truth. I just thought, okay, yeah, I've already got a test track on my layout, and I could take a piece of wood and lay a piece of track on it, right? So I just really didn't pay attention to it when I was up there. But then once I started studying this thing and using it,
Yeah.
this has been on my workbench now since it's been here.
Yep.
And it's so useful because it's got the terminals for power right here, and any current projects I'm working on, I always keep them on it, and the gauge is perfect. It doesn't
Right.
need the leveling thing,
Well,
I
the
didn't
leveling
need that.
the leveling thing is for how much your engine will take, and this you can hook a scale on there and see how much pull rate that your engine has.
I've got scales
Yeah.
over there. We've
Right.
made a
Well,
What's Neat video on
and the
that. in
neat thing
fact.
about
But I'm
this,
saying it has a level and everything, so that's kind of an all-in.
and it's
one
made
level.
out of PVC board.
It's light, yeah.
So it's lightweight,
It's
but
not going to warp.
it's not going to work, and it's
Correct.
permanent. Yeah.
It shouldn't warp.
And I saw
anyway.
they
It
had
could warp.
dual
I don't know.
tracks.
PVC
Yeah.
could warp. I would never say
No.
never about that if it's anything like foam. And the guard, the thing on here, just for slapping a car or engine on it. So yeah, it was a really good idea. Next show, I'm sure somebody's going to tell me now who made this, because this is a great idea. It actually works.
I can picture them in my mind. I just can't.
But it's just
Horrible
anyway.
things.
The CV Center is a very impressive thing from Broadway Limited. I'm not trying to sell you on it, but I'm sold on it. It's on my desk now, permanent spot next to my NCE and
Yeah,
my
it's
Digitrack
very
system.
cool. And it's battery powered, right? You can battery
No,
power
no,
it,
no.
or you
I
can
got a
plug
little
it in.
jack here, and it came with the transformer.
Oh, very nice. Yeah, those are really easy to put up
Yeah.
and down there.
So, see, I hogged the whole show before I even did the introductions. Should I even do the introductions? This is Mike, buddy.
Hi, Mike, buddy.
Hey, everybody.
I'd have no idea who he was if you just hadn't told me that.
Yeah.
It's me.
I worry about him.
Yes.
This is Joshua.
Hi there.
This is
What's up?
very educated James Regier.
Hey, everybody.
He's got more education than me, Mike, and all of us put together. But it's all good, and it shows in what you've done now. Tell us what you brought tonight.
Well, so a variety of things. First of all, I've rescaled the X-Mobile a little bit. Mike had told me last time that he found it a little bit small, and I was like, well, you can't argue with Mike. So I went back and rescaled it with proper dimensions, that sort of thing. Didn't have time to get it painted yet, but that's coming. And I noticed that Bernard Helen had sent out his corn rows in the last episode, and you showed them off. And so I thought, well, I got to bring my combines out, see how they match up and how they fit, and they fit very well.
With the rows of corn?
Yeah, with
Yeah.
rows of corn.
Perfect.
And I'm noticing too that if you take these corn rows, you don't even have to take them off the supports. I
Nope.
wouldn't, in fact.
Right.
Glue
I
right
would put them
down.
right down on
Yep.
the ground
Right, and
as
bring
they
the
are.
soil
They are
up.
in perfect 36-inch rows as they are. So you don't need to. This is a 36-inch header, and it's dead center.
You need 3 different kinds
So-
of camouflage paint, and you can paint those.
I would do
and you're
that.
done
I
with
would
them.
paint that with a super
Glue
fine
it right down.
00040 brush.
Yeah.
and nail it, because this is the most detailed corn
Yeah.
I've ever seen.
But it's ready to plant right on your layout as
Now,
is.
what time of the
Yeah.
year is this? This is not wilted dry corn.
It's looking to me. I'm guessing Bernard released this with his silage harvester and his silage wagon here.
Right.
And I'm not sure where the silage harvester is, but usually the corn that's harvested at that time is somewhat green. Because it's supposed to be harvested when it's green and wet, and it goes into the silos, and it actually ferments in there, and that's how it's preserved over the winter, and dairy cattle and that can be fed off of that silage all winter long. And the dogs, from my dad's stories growing up on the farm, the dogs would actually go up to the silo and have a good time lapping the stuff up.
Gosh. Times were tough.
This would be June, July, probably.
Yeah, probably July,
Because
early
it's got-
August, but
So
it's not.
still
It's got
mostly
the dry-
green.
it's
Yeah,
got the
But
dry-
it has a little bit of
Yeah.
dry, is what
It's
you're
got the
saying.
dry tassels
Yeah.
on top. It's got green leaves, the way the leaves
But-
are fresh, and it's actually already got the formation of the corn
But-
itself.
But you know what? It depends on how you paint it. You can paint it dry to be harvest time, or you can paint it green. At this scale, you're not going to be able to tell the difference that closely.
Right.
Just as long as you sort of as long as you sort of detail it right. Of course, by the time it would be combine harvested, it would be pretty dry already.
It's some of the most realistic corn I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So,
Period.
Yeah,
I mean, just
absolutely.
when I we talked about it on the show last week, and when I zoomed in on it over there with the video camera, that's when I really saw it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does an incredible
It's
job.
not one,
Yeah.
one
He
plant.
got other things, right?
Yeah, so there's that silage wagon. I think there was also that.
This came with. So this is the mini print
Yeah.
stuff from
Yeah, that's
Bernard
a-
Helen, right?
Yes.
That's a forage wagon, and so
Forage wagon.
So you'd have a forage harvester, and I think that came too last week. At least I remember seeing it on the table.
Could be anywhere.
What
now.
year would that be?
What years
I'm
is
looking for a
difficult?
tractor here now.
A lot of these would be appropriate from early to modern, but yeah,
There you go.
Does that
so
look right?
so yeah, the forage harvester would load this wagon, then a tractor would haul it off to the farmyard and replace it with an empty, and they'd sort of do that switch off as long as it takes to harvest that field.
Right.
And these wagons could unload one of two ways. If you had a lift, you could dump it out the back, but up front it also has the auger and blade system that you can
Very
unload it
cool.
out the front as well if you have the power takeoff on it. So yeah, neat models. I see here we have a roll top desk.
Yeah.
Also, I remember that was a huge. My dad actually built two of those. It was a huge project that he had at home. He was helping a friend. A friend had contacted him, heard he knew something about woodworking, and had this roll top desk project. And so he built one together, or they built two of them. He redesigned the plans because the original was just too narrow. But those were neat. Those would be appropriate for your stations, for your banks, just about anything in those early eras. I don't think they don't extend, of course, into the modern era because they're just not that adaptable for computer monitors and that sort of thing.
I still have one.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I mean
Yeah.
they're super nice, and
Yeah. I have a big one.
Yeah. I really want to find a place for one of Dad's. I'm not eager for that day to come, but
Right.
I would really love to have one. Then you see the unloading docks.
Yeah,
doors
those are
there.
really cool.
Now that
Those-
goes on a flat on a building.
Yeah, on the
Yeah,
side of a building.
on the side of
And
the
this is
building.
all the cushions and the garage door.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
Very cool.
So that you could,
couple different colors.
right.
and
Back
that
a truck up
right
there.
Poor
in.
Richard's trying to do this.
Yeah.
Thank you, Richard, for doing
Yeah.
this for us.
And
Maybe you can get B-roll, but okay.
then I also see several owls over there.
Yeah, some barrels.
And some barrels. Now, while we're on the barrels, I'll just tell you that in Model Railroad Hobbyist, this month in Running Extra, Mike Dodd has written an article to tell you how to design these barrels in 3D using Design Spark mechanical. And for November, I'll be showing you how to do the same project using Blender, and using some of the same techniques and the same operations that you'd use to make a bigger project like this combine here or other things.
Very neat.
You did a good job on that.
So
Yeah.
that's
I need some of those. I want a load.
yeah.
I want a load of those. Those are just...
Yeah.
And I want to paint them myself.
Yeah.
And would you be interested now? You said you own an airbrush.
I do.
What brand airbrush do you own, James? I don't remember what you said it was.
It is a Grex.
Okay. God,
Grex.
why am I not familiar with that?
Yeah,
We know Pache. We know Iwata.
Badger.
We know
Badger.
Badger.
it had really high
Is it
recommendation.
a double action, single?
It's a double action.
Any airbrush that's been manufactured by almost any manufacturer is going to be good these days.
Double action
because
and
of
it's
computer generated. I mean, it's going to
Yeah.
do what they said it's going to do. It's going to spray paint.
Yeah.
And a single action airbrush and a double action airbrush among any manufacturer is going to be the same.
Yeah. Well, it has the trigger activation as opposed to the thumb
The
activation.
most important thing about airbrush is
Mm-hmm.
A, keeping it clean, but B, keep your points straight. It's so easy to bend those
Yeah.
points.
Oh, yes.
And it really affects the
Yeah.
spray pattern.
It does.
It used to be to the point where when we used to airbrush down here, we did it so much that I would literally replace my, at the time, Pache airbrushes, the double action. It was just bulletproof. But every year I would just replace it. Just because, I mean, it's easy to take apart, Iwata stuff works really good.
Oh, yes.
But a very fine, thin, the difference between spray paint, we're using spray can paint nowadays a lot because the nozzles are so amazing and it gives you a great spray pattern.
And,
Right.
And now the newer cans have different spray nozzles on there that you can flip between 4 or 5
Okay.
different
Yeah.
kinds.
But
Yeah.
irrelevant of whether you're using spray can paint or modeling paint, okay? Modeling paint is different than the paint from the hardware store because it is ground. It is ground finer and thinner, finer gradients of material than what you would find in a can. So therefore, when you spray it out of an airbrush onto one of your John Deere models, you're putting on a finer, smoother finish.
Yeah.
Then you're putting on your decals and then a nice thin
Right.
clear coat.
Right.
And it really makes a big difference on a model because what tends to happen is around all the seams, the paint, there's this, what's the word for it? A meniscus.
Yeah.
Correct. And it's drawn to the corners.
Right.
Right.
And then so you get and you don't really know the difference unless you see something side by side done with a fine airbrush.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And it's so important to have a double action airbrush because you can control the amount of paint coming out. You know, you can control things so much better. I don't know how that just came out.
Yeah.
I said I had nothing to talk about tonight.
But at any rate, while we're on that topic, folks wanting to order these or anything and happen to be at Trainfest, I can deliver them there if you make your orders
Nice.
before then. So I just wanted to mention that. And then a couple other things I brought. These are the supports from an O-scale grain bin. That was in fact ordered for Trainfest. And just, printing it up, designing the supports, of course, there's a lot of material that gets used just to support any 3D print so that it doesn't break apart. Here's the one for that forage wagon, for example.
Yeah, you just broke that off.
Yeah, that I just broke off.
So there's
And
nothing to
Can you
recycle
grind this
or
material up?
can you grind this up and use
Well,
it as some
There,
way?
there are varieties of uses I've found for it. My daughter kind of wanted to have it just as a decoration, but
I agree.
on the
Yeah.
layout,
Put a light in the middle of that.
Yeah.
You light this up. Oh wow.
Yeah.
Look at this.
Yeah.
but
Back to model railroading though.
but another thing that you can use it for if you crush it up a little bit.
All right, get yourself a patent. Call the Home Depot. We got a new vanity light for the bathroom, honey.
Right.
I'm sure that whole ship has sailed, Ken.
No, I wouldn't be so sure, James.
Yep. $79.95
yeah, there
at
you go.
Menards.
Oh my
At any
God.
rate, but one use for all these supports, not so much the bottom plate, but I've actually broken them up for scrap metal loads, that sort of
very
thing,
neat.
so that
Yeah.
you can load up your gondola cars. It has the same weight as the rest of the
That's
the rest
a
of the
really
wet
good
resin.
idea.
And in fact, I've used two-part epoxy to sort of glue them into the car to sort of form the base, and then just spray paint them silver or weather them as you want. Just lay them in there. It's pretty effective.
Sure, they look almost like some kind of steel girder if you cut
Yeah,
it right,
right.
around
Yeah.
the side.
Exactly. Yeah. It's
All right. Switching gears,
That,
ready, set, go.
Let's go.
yeah.
I went to the grocery store and I got,
Oh, look at that.
I know how many years they've been doing this for, probably 25 years at least.
Yeah.
2000, 1999. I've seen them. Tony Kester's Great Model Railroads with Fire Crown Publishing. See, I didn't say Kalmbach.
I know.
Yeah.
Is that your photograph?
No,
like yours.
inside here was an article, and it's the only one I actually looked at. I saw Lance Mannheim's in here, but I didn't. I really got stopped by Tom Johnston's work.
Oh,
I've
yeah,
seen his
his-
work on the internet. I've downloaded a bunch of his photos so I could study them. This guy gets it. This guy's amazing. This guy has now made me decide to change all my trees on my layout and do it this way. Is amazing work. I told him that tonight on the phone. I got to talk to him for the first time tonight. Joshua got to talk to him. We're going to have him on the
Yeah.
show.
His elevators are just fantastic. A lot of them are detailed using parts from Southern Tier Grain Supply, who we interviewed at the RPM meet, just looking really nice. He's got this autumn theme to his layout with all the leaves, carved pumpkins.
That's the hardest season
Yeah.
to model
Yeah.
convince.
He does an outstanding job.
Yeah, some of the trees he said came from Scandinavia, and a lot of the trees I think he's using the what's a company called Scenic Express?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes real scale leaves.
Right.
He has used it. I told him, I said, either he's the one that's been promoting. In other words, I've not seen anybody else really use this stuff. But his stuff is being promoted in the magazine, so now I'm seeing it, right? And I'm
Right.
so impressed with the fidelity and the realism of his scenery and his trees and everything. Again, I've taken some of the photographs off the internet, and I probably just showed you a bunch of them. We're going to have him on a show here coming up in the next few weeks. We're going to walk him through Skype and get him set up for that. He's a great guy.
And what's
Yeah.
really amazing is his layout. I mean, it looks huge. It looks like this great section, but it's just a little shelf.
It is.
So it's 12 foot on one wall, 12 foot on another wall, L-shaped. And it's just done so very well.
Agreed.
And it's a prime example of, that you just don't need a lot of space.
That's what I was
to
talking about
really have
2
something
weeks ago.
amazing. Yeah.
I was more happy. I love my layout, and it's built as a shelf layout, sort of.
Right.
But when you had 6 or 8 feet of shelf layout, you can trick it out like
Yeah,
this. Because
absolutely.
what he did takes a long time.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to get him on.
Very nice.
I know I had that in my notes, didn't I?
Yes.
Our model railroader ad just got designed yesterday. Thank you very much to the wonderful folks at Bachman
yeah.
Industries for helping us through that process of something we don't know anything about. I do know one thing, magazine deadlines come quick.
yeah.
Every single month, it's like another bill. It just keeps coming.
And right
I
at
was
the deadline.
that was probably one of the first things that hit me. I don't know what I was thinking, but
Can't miss
gonna
that publication
show
date.
you some pictures here, and I got them on the tablet. Why is this doing that?
I don't know.
I don't want to send them a message. Anyway, let's go run some trains.
That's beautiful.
We're not to that part of the show yet, are we?
This is our
Oh.
January ad. I figured it's cold outside, so let's run some snow in the picture. This was
yeah.
that Athearn articulated locomotive. Chris Palomares and I contrived the photograph. I built the scene, made a What's Neat video on how to build the scene. I don't know what month that was, but how we built that whole scene is in the video.
It's probably December. Looks like a Christmas shot, or it might have been.
The one for December. This is the best hobby in the world. I love saying these things. I love to be able to say this in the written print like that. This is the best hobby in the world.
Yeah.
It is.
And it's so cool just to clarify that. So that's the Christmas scene. That's an old shot we did for Bachman a long time ago. Actually, I did it for Mainline Modeler cover too.
Yeah.
But,
And I love there's the link right here that takes you to our new whatsneat.com
I haven't tried that yet.
website.
No, I still haven't tried that yet.
It works perfectly, and it's really neat.
QR code.
The new, yes. And the new website is fantastic.
the one that we ran during the month that the Big Boy was running. I've seen What's Neat Have You with the shot of the Big Boy locomotive running as a blur effect as if you're looking out the car window.
Yeah.
That was another cool shot Chris Palomares and I contrived up together one day. I've seen What's Neat Have You. This is the one with Dallas Divide, an actual scene modeled right out of the Rio Grande Southern books over there.
Oh, yeah.
And then I put an illustration of myself, a much younger Ken, in the picture. It wasn't that long ago that I did that.
Only 20
2013 maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was for soundtracks. We were advertising the Blackstone models, and I wanted to make an absolutely
Only 11 years.
prototypically accurate shot of that location, which I did. And it just illustrates that it's a model when you see a person in the
Sure.
picture. So, and then the first ad was what? I don't even remember what was in the first one. It's probably not on here.
Nope, it's not.
But I've run some of the most realistic, just some of the best ad photos, I think. The first one was the Amtrak shot coming around that curve.
Oh, yeah.
That modern
The
day.
new Charger.
Correct.
Yeah, the new Charger.
I love that shot too, and that was actually cover format. For the last ad of the series that we're going to run, I think we're going to put pictures of us. Lots of different pictures of various shows, maybe.
I love that idea.
And just
Sounds
have a
great.
little motif or whatever.
We've had such great people come onto the show. It's nice to help share
Yeah.
a little bit of that, you know.
It's just fun to
Right.
be able to promote our show. We've seen a bump in the numbers. I think we've got an extra 1,000 subscribers out of it so far.
Thank
I
you.
can tell. Joe Fugate said that for some reason, his forums have gone up 30% in readership after those ads started coming out. I guess people must be finding the What's Neat podcast and then the What's Neat shows too, because they
Absolutely.
both share the same name.
Yeah.
But okay, so that was that. That was.
Yeah.
I don't have any
Yeah.
notes.
Very nice. I want to talk about these Mustangs over here.
Oh, yeah.
Well, those are the new Mustangs from Mini Champs. Actually, they're new colors. I think these models were out once already, but Mini Champs has been coming out with some nice models too, and these 2018 Mustangs are really,
Oh, yeah.
really awesome. This one in particular, I think, is the Bullet edition from the, Steve McQueen movie.
Yeah.
And then got silver, and then a couple versions with stripes there. And anybody who's a modern modeler would be able to use these.
And
on
you
your
see a
layout.
ton of them around. So.
Yeah, for sure. So then my 3D printer project, I bought this off of eBay, it's the Beverly Hillbillies truck, which started as a 1921 Oldsmobile Roadster, I believe.
Yeah. Yep.
And then here's the characters, 3D printed characters.
Yeah.
6 of them. I think there's Mr. Drysdale and
Oh, wow.
Miss
Oh,
Hathaway.
wow.
Yes, that's
Along.
cool.
Oh, that's
So
neat,
anyway,
yeah.
I think that'll be a fun little project.
That's going to be cool,
Yeah.
Mike.
There could be
Cool
the
guy
Hollywood
around
corner on your way out. That'd
Yeah.
be neat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
What can't you make?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
very
anyway,
cool.
yeah, 3D printing is really, really, really cool.
Yeah.
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 So
And it's
this guy, I don't know what his name is, Adam. I should have been more prepared, but it's 3D Railroad on eBay.
okay.
So,
Yeah.
Very cool.
but if you just look for,
I mean,
I found it by
what are they
Google,
going
and
to
I
come
was-
up with next?
yeah, I was just looking on eBay.
It's-
Just had 187 prints.
Yeah.
And all these things came up, and I thought that was pretty cool.
That's
so I
very
bought it.
cool.
It's. I mean.
What are we running tonight?
Ooh, that's a double header, isn't that? Are
Double
those
header,
Broadway
yeah.
Limited engines?
Yes, they are.
Those
Some of
are
my
so
most favorite
nice.
models from this summer. Yes, those are beautiful. What year consist is this? This is a steam era consist.
Okay.
So about 1942.
Okay.
There's no, it's just a short, sweet little train of older cars. Those AccuRails that just went by. There's an Intermountain refrigerator car and tank car. It might be a Tichy, the green car.
No auto racks.
No auto
No,
racks.
the Bachmann one hasn't come out yet. What year was that auto rack from Frisco?
1959.
Okay, this train's way early. I mean, those
Yeah.
refrigerator cars take ice right there.
Yeah.
Those reefers.
Those
Right.
ice reefers were definitely on their way out by Well, they lasted into the early 60s, I think, but they became increasingly rare.
What were those
remember
tanker
that.
cars hauling back at that time?
3 of those are Atherns, the silver ones, I think. The Intermountains are the black ones. Those have been here long. Some of these cars have been here 35 years.
Wow.
And you know that idea of putting them lights up over there to light up that
Oh,
caboose
yeah.
and the way
I
you can
lo-
see
I love
everything.
that
I
idea.
can see
Yeah.
the camera from right here.
I
Look,
know.
there's
That's
us.
nice.
Yeah.
Hey, hi.
Hey!
Yeah.
What about that caboose? That caboose seems pretty modern. For
That's
that
one of those
era.
Atherns with the lights in it that they came out with.
I like those.
We did a Christmas picture using the Santa Fe. That's the shot you were down here for where I used
Yeah.
your train
Yeah,
station.
that's right.
And we had to leave the shutter open for 30 minutes to be able to get the
Yeah,
light
that's-
of the
Yeah.
caboose to come up.
And then didn't Chris put fog into it after it was said and
Correct.
done?
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, turned out nice.
A lot of Christmas stuff going on. Here
Yeah.
comes the season, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, get your
I mean, there's
Christmas
all kinds of
presents
things.
early.
When this show comes out, half the country's, there's going to be a new president. When this show comes
Well,
out.
in January there will be, but
Yeah.
Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
we may or may not know how it
Yeah.
comes out,
Right.
Yep.
but as close as things are.
How exciting. How exciting.
And we'll be living an hour later. So that's
right.
How exciting.
Yeah, that's
Changing
right.
our clocks.
That's
tonight.
right.
That's right.
All right, are we done? I think we are.
I think we're finished.
Because I
Cakes are-
can't think, am I
Well,
missing anything?
Cakes are done. People are finished.
Thanks for the cookies tonight.
If I
Yeah.
may,
He
I'd
may.
like
What's
to.
he want to say?
Well, I'd like
James
to give.
is here.
Yeah, I'd like to give a shout out to Seth Gartner, and while you guys were doing the show last week, I was touring his beautiful Piney Fork layout
Very nice.
in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Hi, Seth.
And
Thanks for
his-
watching.
It's absolutely beautifully done. I'll send you the pictures. But he has a beautiful steel mill on one end of it. And his primary focus is a New York Central line, late 1950s, early 1960s, that went from Minerva, Ohio, to service the Piney Fork mine, which was a large coal mine. And it was actually orphaned from the New York Central, had access to home rails only via trackage rights on the Pennsy. So it was an interesting backstory behind this layout, but had a lot of fun touring Seth's layout in his basement, and that was
Cool.
awesome.
Nice.
I know we didn't talk about these, but everybody knows about the What's Neat This Week brown boxcar. I'm changing some stuff up again. We're going to make another one that says What's Neat Transportation on it. Again, trying to go more prototypical. Make the worldwide service logo a little bit smaller, make the What's Neat logo a little bit bigger, and then do the same thing on a blue car with probably yellow lettering, okay?
Very cool.
Shade like this. And then a yellow car with the red and black lettering. Is that what this is? Red and black? Yeah.
Or what about What's Neat in 1 week? Like, as in, ordered and to your door in a
Well,
week.
if you want to go to Samson RC Hobby and buy your own, he's makes all different kinds.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I have some Sugar Fire box cars from him that I had made a few years ago. That
I wish I could design this myself so I could see what it looks like. What's
Yeah.
Neat Transportation? What do the words look like? I need
Yeah.
to see it.
Yeah.
maybe you can go down there and help design it with him right in front of the computer.
It's amazing because that's
Yeah.
what he does. He sends it to me on my cell phone,
Yeah.
and then he goes back and changes it. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's perfect.
We'll have to go down there and shoot a show.
But I
Yeah.
think it's 4 different colors. I think that's cool.
You
It'll
can
be
probably
neat.
design it on Photoshop
Where's
if you
the
want.
4th one? Oh, the one with the arch on it right here. Yes.
Yeah, I like that one.
See,
Yeah.
see how handy this thing is.
I know, it's really
Yeah.
neat.
That's another thing. What got me started working with Model Railroad Hobbyist Magazine and what got me to even know it exists, and this is a really cool thing, I'm getting sidebarred here. Having these ads in Model Railroad Magazine, there are people that have called me up that I have not heard from in years.
Nice.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Great conversation starter. Scotty Mason, I talked to him on Facebook this week for the first time in, I don't know, a long, long, long time. It was your show where you guys had David Frary on, and it was a podcast that you could listen to. This was when Dave Davis called me up, remember? And he
Yeah.
said, somebody's got a talk show
Yeah, you
in the
got to
hobby.
listen to this. Yeah.
And I was totally dashed. I thought, oh my God, somebody's got a talk show. Somebody else already did it. And so I looked for it, and it wasn't Merv Griffin. It wasn't Johnny. It wasn't a visual show.
Right.
It was a sound show,
Audio.
like radio, right?
Right.
I'm like, okay, well, that threat's gone. But the fact was, I listened to it. I listened to Dave Ferrari, I listened to Scott, Jimmy Simmons, all the different people he had, all the model manufacturers that he advertised for, the DVDs that he was making and selling. It sounded like it was a really neat pathway. And Scotty, you're the reason why, besides you and Chris Palomares for making this happen, that's why we do this. Scotty Mason was the reason why this all happened. I mean, before that, we had Andy Harmon, and that was a typewritten page back when AOL had that sound when you dialed it up,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And I thought that was like the premier way to get the word out. And look at how it's changed. We're talking a span now of 30 years.
Yeah.
Of from Andy Harmon,
Yeah.
to
I still talk to him. He's into the model car hobby now, 1/25th scale car hobby like I am.
Nice.
So I talk to him all the time. Hey, Andy.
So I had to throw that out there because I wanted credit where credit was due. I thought what Scotty had was really great. In fact, I was
Absolutely.
excited as it could be to even be on his show. I thought that was huge, So, and then I traveled up to go do one of his shows out in Massachusetts and do live clinics or something at it, where Bachman sent me all the scenery supplies and then free products to give to the audience, which was kind of neat. That was way before we were shooting this show.
Right.
Way before What's Neat in 2012. So we're probably talking the mid to early 2000s, in that range somewhere in there.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know, sidetracked. I probably just ran the show long.
Memories.
I know, I love this hobby. This is the best
you can
hobby
add
in the
it.
world with some of the best people in it. Sitting
Absolutely.
around me, Steve Mantia, Chris, thanks for being here tonight. Richard, thank you for running camera for us. Let's go run some trains.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have any idea what time we started that show?
Oh,
No.
no.
Minute and 24.
No.
I'm glad we got to talk about this.
Okay, good.
I've been talking to Gary Hoover too. We got something going on with that.
Very cool.
Good.
Exciting.
What else? Let's do a thumbnail.
All right, sounds good.
Ready? I know. It's
Yeah.
so exciting. Okay, ready, set, everybody show. Camera one, some teeth. And we've got it.
Okay.
Now we need to shoot a picture for the Model Railroader ad for February. And let's go over there to that bridge and set up something and do something.
Okay.
Okay.
We've done this before.
Get your camera.
And we need the train to be over there. And let that camera roll for some time.
How are you operating this train?
It's not going to operate, I don't think, is it? It's not moving in the picture.
I know, but don't you want to stop it right there?
Yes.
How are you?
Oh, guess what I forgot to talk about again?
Check out the slag operation on this.
That's pretty cool.
Fiber optic lit.
Nice.